when this Matt incident happened, the reason that she's terminated today, correct? And that's why we're here, for the Matt. Was Linda on the clock?
Linda, I don't know the specifics of when it happened, if after the start.
Okay. She does the setup. Everybody else is sitting on the sidelines. Setup normally starts before the rest of the sort, correct? Would you agree with that premise?
Yes.
Okay. Her statement is, and wasn't rebutted by you, that she was on the clock. It was actually your statement you presented. Was not on the clock. So is it appropriate for Linda to even be around what she's doing at that time? She's not even on the clock. Why would she come over there where Michelle was at?
That's where, if I can speak to that, she communicated to me that she went over, she checked the lineup, she saw where she was going to be positioned for that day. She went over there, set her lunchbox or her bags down, and was waiting for work to start.
So that's the time she decided to start jerking Mats around when she's off the clock?
That would be apparently correct.
She's supposed to work off the clock?
Negative.
Work. Then one day the worst happened. I would move the mat to my position. Everybody, when they get assigned a position, they go over there, they find a mat to put under the position if there isn't already one. I moved the mat to my position. I made sure, I checked her position, made sure I did not touch the one that was in hers. It was another mat. Everybody does this. She totally lost her temper, called me a bitch, started screaming for a supervisor. I had already been informed months before that, after complaining about what's going on down there, to just come to work, clock in, keep my mouth shut, do my job, clock out. I said nothing. Nobody did anything about her losing her temper, calling me a bitch, so when I had the chance, I went up in the office to complain. Next thing I know, we were both temporarily fired until further investigation and escorted out. The most embarrassing moment in my life. I have never been fired from any job in my life because I've always been an exemplary employee. I was brought back with pay because she was the only person doing the screaming. It was only when she had to go to state, the first time ever that anybody alleged violence, when she had to go to state to get her job back, that she brought up any allegations of violence at the state hearing and claimed I slapped her hands. Dan Kelly will attest to the fact that it was not brought up the day of the mat moving. She was hired back without pay.
Yeah, I'd also like to bring up that in Michelle's initial statement in the investigation, at no point in time did she say that she had grabbed the mat or that Linda had hit her.
You mentioned, Dan, that in her first statement she never mentioned anything about slapping her hand in her first statement. Was it a written statement?
Yes.
Did she ever give you a second handwritten statement?
No, it was after she completed that statement.
Michelle, can you tell me why those...
I was very nervous. I get nervous around Dan.
Is that an important part of it, you think?
I believe it is an important part of
Her
it.
slapping your hand?
It was said, but it wasn't written. Yeah, I believe it was very important.
What do you mean it was said?
I spoke it, I said it, but I didn't write it
Who
down.
did you say it to?
These two guys right here, Andrew and Dan, on my first
After her
initial
written
meeting.
after her written statement to the company, after her written statement, when did you find out about the hand slapping, or did she say that during some of your interviews and just didn't write it down?
At the end of the written statement you had, before the line is drawn in where I seal it, she made the statement.
Cameras are focused on the work area, not the position of the map.
Negative. Linda Bates communicated to me that she had said nothing, did nothing, and upon our investigation and the interviews, we determined that to be accurate. We did not feel it was correct to punish another employee that absolutely did nothing at that point in time.
Linda was in the work area before the start time, interrupting Michelle's assigned duties.
We know what happened. It's on record. We have it. We know what happened. Michelle, to be honest, there was a lot of people interviewed, and
my two people that witnessed it. The only two people that witnessed it. A lot of people interviewed. Who else got interviewed?
well, that's like, oh, well, Linda was asked. You were asked. Whoever you.
Linda
listed.
lies.
Okay, but see, the interesting thing is, Michelle, it seems like your.
How did I get fired?
Always corroborate your story, and then Linda's is always the complete opposite. So how do you?
I'm sorry. I need you to get a copy. No,
just-
there's no excuse for her.
Michelle's perception is that Linda is creating a hostile, harassing work environment. That's her perception, so I have an obligation as an employer to correct that.
Okay.
Linda, I believe you. I don't think you're lying to me. I think this is really a legitimate concern. I know this petty stuff does bother you.
This is crazy. I mean, she's doing it just to antagonize me. She's trying to...
I think that might be, Michelle, between you and I think that's probably a valid point. I think she is trying to
She's trying to make me flip my lid, so I yell at her again, you fire me again. That's all she's trying to do.
I think she's trying to do some agitating there, so I would agree.
The 5th is the incident. Linda came into the building. She came up to me.
I just want to know if they both made a complaint that day.
No, they didn't. Basically what happened,
Well, did they talk to management about something on the 5th?
yes, she talked to me. I went and then talked to Mullica, and then Mullica communicated information back to me.
Did Michelle come to you prior to that and say,
No.
hey, I got a problem?
No,
Not until you went to her?
was my point, yes.
Dan, the woman scares me
Parked inside today. Security came down
and told me I have to park next to her. It's been going on for a year.
You know, take a deep breath, cleanse your breath. Okay, so what you're telling me right now is that, from what I'm hearing you think that she is trying to create a hostile work environment, harass and intimidate you in the workplace.
I am saying that, yes.
That's your perception.
That is my perception.
Okay, then what I would like you to do is I'd like you to first just get your composure. I'd like you to write a statement to me, put it on paper, that you feel that she is creating a hostile work environment against you and she is harassing you by the things that she's doing.
Thank you for writing something up in regards to her. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so just go ahead and write something up, give it to me and put it on paper. I have a meeting scheduled for today with Human Resources, and it's my obligation to provide a safe work environment for everybody, and it's obvious. And yeah, I'll tell you where I am, Michelle. I personally, you know, this shit she's doing, if it was me, I would just blow it off.
Honey, I can't blow it off. It's really easy for you to say, but if it's your mother, your daughter, your sister
I understand.
that is forced to work with somebody who tends to just try to make your life miserable.
I understand that. I can tell by looking at you right now where you're at with this. I don't think that you're. I understand you're agitated. I understand you're nervous. I understand there's a lot of things going on.
Will you take note of where she put her car today? And
I did not even notice it. But if you would please, just give me a statement telling me straight up, hey, I feel she's doing this to create a housework. Put some thought. You can do it now. You can do it at home.
Try to do it at home. I won't be able to write nothing while I'm
fine.
shaking.
That's fine.
It is not just Linda that maintains her complete innocence and truthfulness. UPS sort manager Dan Kelly vouched for her as well. On Tuesday, January 14th, 2014, Linda was brought into a meeting along with myself, Michelle Mullica, UPS labor manager Joe Brown, UPS human resources manager Mike Arndt, and day sort manager Dan Kelly. During this meeting, both Linda and Michelle were told that they were both part of the problem in the workplace and that they were being offered the opportunity to both switch to different shifts or to have the company proceed with other actions. Linda asked if she would be fired if she didn't choose a different shift, and UPS labor manager Joe Brown stated, "I didn't say that yet." Linda asserted that she was 100% innocent and that everyone else was lying about what had happened. UPS day sort manager Dan Kelly then clearly stated, "I believe you, Linda."
And then the next portion where it states, the company clearly acknowledged at that time that, right before that, it states that UPS day sort manager Dan Kelly clearly stated, "I believe you, Linda." I want Dan to explain how this went down, because as Linda was explaining what she was saying, Dan did get up and say, "Linda, I believe you."
That is absolutely true. When Linda talks to me and she explains what's going on with Michelle Mullica, I believe her. I believe that she feels that those things that are taking place with Linda are real. They bother her. They cause her stress. These remarks that are made in the small sort, they legitimately bother Linda.
Dan, there's been a lot of said about, in writing and from what the union has presented, that you believe Linda.
The reason for the termination of Linda today is due to the fact that she is creating in Mullica's mind, her perception is that Linda Bates is creating a hostile work environment.
It also mentions here in the next paragraph, it says, it's not just that Linda maintains her complete innocence and truthfulness. UPS sort manager Dan Kelly vouched for her as well, and Dan's going to respond to this in just a second, because it goes through the presentation, kind of talks about how the meeting went, and Linda was asked if she'd be fired if she didn't choose a different shift, and UPS labor manager Joe Brown stated, "I didn't say that yet. I point blank asked Linda, you need to pick a shift, the twilight of the night, because Michelle already picked preload. She goes, what, are you going to fire me?" And I said, "You need to tell me what sort you're going to work on." And
I think a lot of this is about the parking, but seriously, why don't
Of course it's about the parking. Dan Kelly told me yesterday to ride over.
It had nothing to do with the parking situation on my behalf. I had been to Dan Kelly and others to constantly ask them to please ask her not to talk to me. I have dealt with every day since this Civil Rights Commission thing. Every day I've dealt with her coming and making snide remarks to me under her breath, walking by me. Anything. Every day. Last 2 days, she verbally threatened that she's going to file a lawsuit against me. That's when I decided to go up to the office and file harassment. She was getting to me, that's threatening. The others I can deal with. I've dealt with that. If I'd have just, if I could look back now, I wouldn't have said a damn word. I'd have kept my mouth shut to keep my job.
I believe that over the past 4 or 5 months, I don't think Linda has been as active in that event as Michelle. The only thing I can do is to stay in compliance and to try to resolve this would be if they can't take the resolution we try to put before them, then to stay in compliance, they would both have to go.
That's what we're here today.
Sandy Pierce is another employee in the small sort area that's had problems in this situation over the past year or so, but she has since corrected her behavior.
Or Sandy Pierce is a regular employee at UPS?
Yes, she is.
She never is.
Okay.
And filed official harassment papers against Michelle and Sandy. And Sandy was included in my harassment.
Who is Sandy Peak?
Pierce.
Sandy Pierce is another employee in the small sort area that's had problems in this situation.
It's a small group of girls. These girls come up with violence. Why would I bully them? Why would I care about them? For the last 2 years, I've dealt with Sandy Pierce. Over the last 2 years, I have suffered with Sandy Pierce. She watched me constantly. I was warned about Sandy Pierce. I have suffered with this constant watching of me by supervisors and Sandy Pierce because their numbers aren't good. Sandy's nor Michelle's. Sandy Pierce proved that she will stop at nothing to get me fired. Sandy Pierce, who has the same agenda, and Sandy Pierce. I have more hours than either girl because Sandy Pierce.
Right there. Now, Dan told us that this Sandy lady is backed off.
If I'm gone, they'll pick somebody else. They have been trying to cry violence before. Sandy Pierce to help her. There's no proof of any violence.
There's a statement about Sandy Pierce.
It has been said that I've given him the finger on the job. No such thing. I don't even use that finger.